Okay, hi. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you the strategy and the 5 steps, practical, how to use SER and ESTAR correctly most of the time and be correct about 99% of the time. Let's jump right in. Firstly, I want to tell you how I learned it because Spanish is my third language, and I moved to Mexico in my 30s for work, got headhunted, and ended up marrying and staying here, and I had to learn Spanish from scratch. And I was actually working 12, 14-hour days. I did not have time or energy to learn, to invest in course or private teachers. I just, at some point, I gave up. I just gave up. I knew I was going to speak with mistakes for the rest of my life. It took me 11 years to learn Spanish until the final pieces fell into place. And that's because I took the long route. I don't think anybody should take 11 years to learn Spanish. So one of the major areas of confusion is SER and ESTAR, especially for native English speakers, because we're not used to having 2 options for to be. Now we know that the frame explanation is that SER is a fixed quality and ESTAR is a temporary position or location. Now what that means, this is a very precise choice of words. That means that in English, every time you say I am, you are, she is, we are, they are, same goes for past tense, I was, you were, they were. Those words, let's focus on the present tense first. Am, is, and are. Those words in English, they describe, first of all, am only works for the I. We and you plural, and they, those are the ones that work with are. The minute you hear the word are, you know it's a plural word, right? And is only works for he, she, and it. If you were teaching me English, you would have to correct me at some point. You're going to say Judith, you can't say I'm is or she are, right? I would have to learn the right order. So in English, it's very simple. For the present tense, there are only 3, am, is, and are. Now in Spanish, those 3 words become more. First of all, you have choice of 2. There are 2 I am, there's 2 is, there's 2 are. How we differentiate between them is one is a fixed quality and the other one is a temporary position or location. Now think about those words. A fixed quality, that means being a man, being a woman, your nationality. When we talk about fixed qualities, is nationality, gender, physical characteristics like being tall, being short, being blonde, being bold, and family ties. I am her sister, she's my mother, that's my son, she's my daughter, he's my husband. Those are fixed things. I'll go into that more in detail, but that is the difference between a fixed quality and a temporary position or location. Now, temporary position or locations, as the words imply. Location is self-explanatory, but temporary position means physical sensations. Being mad, being angry, being sad, being hungry, being tired, being sleepy, being sweaty, being in love, being sick, those are temporary. We're not all our lives in love, sad, sick, hungry, and tired. Not 24/7. It's not a fixed quality like being a man or a woman. So that is the differentiate. Now, practical steps. How do we actually use them in conversation? Well, step number 1 is to break down the list of the SER and ESTAR words and cover the present tense first. Once you know those words, then you move to the past tense, and finally you learn the future tense words. I've given you a printout list, so you're going to see that I am equals soy/estoy. Now, practical step number 2, all the words after the slash, they are the words that are temporary. Temporary position or location. And the temporary works with actions. I am drinking, she is driving, we are thinking, they are planning, she's going, he's buying, we're picking up, they're dropping off. The minute you use those type of things in English, I am, you are, picking, driving, swimming, thinking, those are called ing words, verbs, sorry. We use the exact same way in Spanish also. So, estoy, eres, estás, estoy, estás, etc. All the words after the slash, they're the ones that work with the ing verbs. Now, we'll cover those at the end, at step number 5. But making actions, those are the ones we use to start with. Making actions. I'm driving, I'm cooking, I'm sleeping, I'm buying, I'm returning. Okay? Step number 2. we use a star for locations. I'm at the kitchen, my sister's in the backyard, my husband is driving, my parents are on the way to work, and my brother-in-law is flying from Amsterdam. Being at a location, home, work, kitchen, gym, backyard, parking lot, third floor, locations, I am, you are at the location, she is at the location, we use the STAR words. This is number 3. Step number 3. Emotional situations or physical feelings. Every time you want to say, I'm mad, angry, sad, sick, pregnant, engaged, those are temporary situations. Okay? Sweaty, sleepy, wet, sad, dry, those are temporary. If something can be dry, like my clothes, or maybe I'm sweaty because it's hot, well, I can be not sweaty, so that's temporary. So it's not a huge deal if you make those mistakes, it's very common, but here is the explanation. How do we actually use them correctly? So, step number 1, action. Step number 2, location. Step number 3, emotions and physical sensations. Now, let's move on to step number 4. How do we use the SER? So SER are fixed quality, and those are the ones that are used primarily when we talk about our nationality. She's Italian, he's Canadian, they're Uruguayan, he's Argentinian, we're Mexicans, they're from Peru, right? Bolivian, Parisian, New Yorker, all those things. Texan, those. Guatemalan, Spaniard. Nationality is a fixed quality. Number 2, career. I'm a doctor, she's a lawyer, he's a teacher, they are chefs, he's a restaurant owner, they're like mechanical engineers. Your career is typically something that is long-term, and it kind of defines you. Okay? Career, nationality, body qualities, fat, tall, short, blonde hair, dark haired, fair skinned, right? Slim, sturdy. Él es alto, he is tall. Being tall is a fixed quality. When I was a kid, I was blonde. Cuando yo era una niña, yo era rubia. I was blonde. That's a fixed thing. You're blonde, you're blonde. You're dark haired, you're dark haired. Bold, fat, slim. Body qualities, those are the ones we use, the SER verbs, the fixed quality. Next, family ties. Every time we talk about our family ties, he's my brother, she is my neighbor. Well, neighbors are kind of moving, but brother, sister, daughter, son, grandson, cousin, brother-in-law, parents-in-law, mother, husband. All our family ties, we use fixed quality to describe them, because guess what? They are fixed. Él es mi hermano. Ella es mi mamá. Él es mi esposo. Ellos son mis hijos. These are my children, my kids. A boy and a girl. Ellos son, these are my kids. Fixed quality. So to recap, we use SER, the fixed quality, primarily to speak about nationality, career, body qualities or attributions, and family ties. Every time you talk about one of those 4, you want to use the SER. Step number 5, let's cover how we actually make ing verbs to work with ESTAR. So I told you that in English, we have the root verb. For example, run, or buy, or cook, or think, or spend. Those are root verbs. And then you add all kinds of endings to them and it makes it the future, the past, I did it, she did it, within, doing it. So, comprar, comprando, buy, buying, nadar, nadando, swim, swimming, llevar, llevando, to take away, taking away. To bring, traer, trayendo, bringing. So this particular subject in Spanish works the exact same way as it does in English. The minute you use I am, you are, plus a verb, you have to give it a special ending. It's called ing endings in English. It's called ando or yendo in Spanish. Every single verb in Spanish, of course, there are 2 options in Spanish. So every single verb in Spanish either ends with AR, ER, or IR. Typically a verb conjugation, the way we do it, we just scratch off the R and we plug in some type of an ending, and that implies if it's past, if it's future, who's doing it, is it she doing it, is it they doing it. That's how verb conjugations work in Spanish. Ando and yendo are one of the most simple and straightforward subjects in the verb conjugation, so let's do them. If your verb ends with an AR, you scratch off the R and you plug an ando in it. You don't have to make a double A, the A is already there. For example, pagar, pagando, llamar, llamando, to pay, paying, to call, calling. You can do that for every single verb in the book, and you'll see that it works every time, just like clockwork. So the easiest way to remember it is you just look at your verb. If it ends with an AR, flat out, you're gonna make it sound ando. And it's a really good practice. If you want to practice after this video at home, talking out loud to yourself, you just run down the list of verbs, speaking out loud, so your mouth gets used to the movement and you see for yourself that it works. The second option is if your verb ends with something else, does not end with an AR. Whatever else it ends with, and it's two options, ER or IR, whatever else it ends with, you plug in a yendo in it. So again, we scratch off the R, and there's a little bit of anomalies with the E's and the I's. The anomalies aren't very frequent, and you can certainly gloss over them until you feel confident enough and you start incorporating them into your speech. But to keep it simple for the first, 6 months, year, however long you need, for the first steps of your journey, if your verb ends with ER or IR, you scratch off the R, you plug in yendo. We actually spell it with a Y-E, but for native English speakers, the sound it makes is like a Y with yellow, yendo. Traer, trayendo, to bring, bringing. Let me think. Traer, trayendo. Comer, comiendo, to eat, eating. Ir, yendo, go, going. So you can do that as well. You can do that for every single verb on your list, and you're going to see that it works just like clockwork. Ir is, of course, an anomaly, and the air, ver, there's about 4 or 5 that are the most frequent ones. I can give you that list later on, but for the major part, if you're faced with an anomaly, all you have to learn is about 5 words. So that's not a big task. Oler, to smell, oliendo. Ver, viendo. Dar, dando. Those hacer, haciendo. Those are the frequent ones. So just keep practicing out loud. Print out the list of verbs, cut them up with scissors, tape different parts at different parts of your house. Just look at them every day, say them out loud. The more you have your mouth speaking and practicing it, the better it will work for you. And I have 2 case studies to share with you. One is my student Erin. Erin bought a second home here in Mexico, she and her family. And they've been coming and going, but most of their lives they're living in the States. They still had school-aged children there. And they had some work done to the house, so they had to talk to the workers. Of course, it's very hard to talk to local builders in Spanish. They typically speak very little English. They have thick local dialects and accents, so it's quite challenging. She would come here for a month at a time, and every time she would be here, she would understand more and more and more. And she emailed me. You can see those testimonials on my Facebook page. She shared messages with me saying, he said yendo and I understood it. And he told me this and I understood it. And I said that to him and he understood me. So those things are really big. They're major, major clarifications. You will not understand every single sentence or every single word you hear in a sentence in the first year or 2 of your Spanish journey. To bridge that, the remedy for that, is that if you hear a lot, knowing the STAR words, it gives you a clue. Are we speaking about a single person or the plurals, right? And you can decode. And a lot of other elements in the sentence align with that. If we're talking about a day, there's going to be a lot of plural words. And of course, they're so necessary, right? We cannot really speak about, anything without using them as are, was, and were. The second case study is another student of mine. His name is Ron. He's Canadian. He was taking lessons with me all during quarantine, so for about 18 months every day. Although he was over the age of 65, he still got a pretty good grip on all the vocabulary. And yeah, it takes a little time. Like sometimes it can take longer than what you think is acceptable, but it does sink in. It is a long list of words. I told you to start with the present tense because there are 37 words in total. Nobody's expecting you to remember 37 words. But when you break it down to smaller chunks, you can definitely at some point absorb them. Take 6 months, take 8 months, take 13 months, however long you need. You want to know those 37 words. They're very beneficial. And the ing part is going to work all the time the same way. The only thing that's going to change is the STAR. The verb stays with the ing. I am eating, I was eating. Same thing. So my students who come and live in Mexico, either full-time or part-time, and even my neighbors, they write testimonials on my Facebook wall, and you can go and look there. This stuff works, it helps, and the key to that is practicing every day or every week as much as you possibly can if you don't live in a Spanish-speaking country. Join our Facebook community, and then you can practice every week whenever you have time.